Adolescents face several risks actually across the world, not just in developing countries but across the world. And partly that's driven by the transitions they're making in terms of their own development and growth. The first issue I think is that education. If we want adolescents to stay adolescents till at least the age of 18, which by the CRC is the definition of sort of the end of childhood, then we have to invest much more in education. We still have about 65 million children of lower secondary school age who are out of school. And although we've seen much progress in school enrollment, we also know that school enrollment, for example, is not often the same as having a quality education that streams you or equips you for future in the labor force and so on. So what is happening is that even if children are enrolling in secondary school, they're often not lasting, and they become they sort of drop out of school, and then there are risks associated with that, which is that they're pulled into work or sent to work in the labor force, often under exploitative conditions, or they get married quite early, especially if they're girls. And of course, there are regional variations in this picture, but by and large, if we don't make any progress in keeping children in school till much later, we exacerbate or increase the risks they face when they're pushed out into the community at a much younger age. I think we have to recognize that there are multiple factors that influence adolescent well-being. It's not just their biology, it's not just their social context. There are lots of opportunities for them to be exposed to new media, for example, which gives them new ideas, new attitudes, new aspirations. So there is, as much as there are constraints in a way or challenges that are imposed by social context, there are also opportunities that allow young people to transition away from these more oppressive structures. So we have to recognize that the factors that influence adolescent well-being are multiple, and they can work in any direction. They can be positive or negative, enabling or disabling. In that respect, I think the point about biology is that often people who judge adolescent behavior don't pay enough heed to the fact that a lot of that behavior is not socially determined, it's not done on purpose or deliberate. Adolescence is also a time where children learn through taking risks. They learn through, they form capacities to make judgments and make decisions as adult people, and they will make mistakes. And I think very often if we don't understand that some of that is also coming from just brain development, physiological development, changes associated with puberty, then we end up also often judging adolescents very harshly. Very often that can mean they are punished for example, if they form relationships with the opposite sex. In more conservative societies, they're often married off early, rather than recognizing that that is actually a natural part of the sexual maturation process. So I think my only view on the biology question is that we should not, it doesn't determine who a child is, but it is a significant factor. And policymakers very often don't understand sufficiently the way in which biology also plays its part in shaping adolescent behavior. And we need to sort of bring all of these perspectives together. They're not isolated. They need to be integrated, and we need to form policies based on keeping all of these influences on adolescent behavior. We need to keep them in the same frame for good policy making. I think we really need to encourage much more multidisciplinary discussion. I think, we have to recognize that, we need to learn and innovate. And a lot of that learning comes only if you look at things from somebody else's perspective. So I think a multidisciplinary debate is absolutely essential. And it is also for data collection. I think we have a huge set of issues with the data collection. When people go into the field, the data they collect, if it's very narrow, then somebody else goes in and asks a different set of questions, and we're not able to put that together. And I think for that, mixed methods research, interdisciplinary, cross-disciplinary research, these are all essential for moving the field forward. And I think the debate we had was exactly pointing to that we need to have these arguments. We need, the scientists need to hear the social scientists. We need to have those fights and debates, and we need to have more of them. I think that's the healthy direction. I think if we all sit in our little sort of pieces and don't talk to each other, I think that's the big danger. So I think it's a very healthy development to have a multidisciplinary conversation, and I think that's the way to go, really, for the future.